time. Hello everyone, it's me, Shadow Valishard Wolf, aka Valishard Videotapes, and today I wanted to hop on to talk for a little bit about one of my favorite characters of all time, Mr. Pee Wee Herman, and more specifically, about what sort of a future there could be for the character without his creator, Paul Reubens. Now, I've been a fan of Pee Wee ever since I was introduced to Pee Wee's Playhouse when it was re-airing on Adult Swim when I was in elementary school. I also rented the DVD copy of Pee Wee's Big Adventure from Hollywood Video and watched it so many times that we forgot that we'd rented it, and we owed $27 roughly in late fees to Hollywood Video. You can ask my parents, it's true. Don't talk to my parents. So anyway, I'm a huge fan. I've got tons of Pee Wee VHS tapes, toys, plushies, any Pee Wee stuff I can get my hands on. Years ago, I dressed up as Pee Wee for Halloween and put the costume on every chance I could get.
I'm sorry, operator, I can't hear you. I'm trying to use the phone!
It's almost been a year since we lost Paul Reubens in July of 2023 to cancer. And ever since then, I've wondered if there's any sort of a future for the character without Paul around. Now, since his passing, we've seen some Pee Wee related things popping up, mainly merch, such as the things on the official Pee Wee merch store, new toys and plushies from Kid Robot, an excellent Blu-ray box set of the entire Pee Wee's Playhouse series from Shout Factory. And if you didn't know, Shout Factory has a 24-hour Pee Wee's Playhouse live stream. So once you're done here, go check that out. Now, of course, leading up to Paul's passing, there were several Pee Wee projects or Pee Wee appearances, such as the Broadway show that sort of reignited some of that love for Pee Wee Herman and led to the Netflix movie, Pee Wee's Big Holiday. Personally, not a huge fan of the movie. I think it's okay. I had hoped for one more outing with Pee Wee, some sort of a big movie, maybe a darker story like Paul had mentioned he wanted to do, but I'll take it over nothing. We even had a quick cameo of Pee Wee in Weird the Al Yankovic Story, being played by Jorma from The Lonely Island. But with all that said, I just keep wondering, will we see some other Pee Wee project? Is there going to be some sort of a reboot, some sort of a new iteration of Pee Wee? And I've got 3 ideas that I feel like are the most likely that I'm going to share with you now. So the first and most likely Pee Wee related thing we're going to see would be a Paul Reubens documentary. This was first announced by HBO several years ago, and while it seems like it's just been sitting for a bit, there was an update later last year that there was about 40 hours of interviews done with Paul Reubens. There's plenty of footage, and the project is still happening, but with no timeline and no information given. So certainly we will see new Pee Wee footage, hopefully some behind-the-scenes stuff, and get a little bit more Pee Wee action, but I could also see a biopic happening at some point. Ideally, something that's a little more lighthearted and silly. There was a rumor last year that Eric Appel, who directed Weird the Al Yankovic Story, was wanting to do a Pee Wee biopic in the same vein as Weird. That was quickly debunked on Eric's Instagram as just sort of a passing thing that he said, but had no actual weight to it. Although, if that were to happen, I think there's some cool things that could be done there. I personally would like to see some other actor playing Pee Wee in a very dramatized version of Pee Wee, not Paul Reubens, but Pee Wee, trying to get a show on TV for kids and to start Pee Wee's Playhouse, but has to go out and find all these people and go on a big adventure, kind of like in the same style as like a Muppet movie, if that makes sense. Which, speaking of Muppets, another idea would be, so this is something that I would be really excited about, but to see some sort of a Muppet Babies style show, whether it be traditionally 2D animated or with puppets and a child actor playing a young Pee Wee. Now, it's interesting, there was a post from the artist Wayne White, who worked on Pee Wee's Playhouse, that went up a few weeks ago, showing sketches that he did and he was working on with Paul for a Muppet Babies style show, Playhouse Babies. Although when I went to go look for that post, it's gone. Little suspicious. Is something happening? I hope so, but probably not. Things like this have worked in the past, of course, such as Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood taking on the legacy of Mr. Rogers. Now, the third possibility that I feel like a lot of people have considered would be a true reboot of either the show or a new movie. I think a movie would possibly work if it had a very different tone from Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Pee-wee's Big Holiday, but would still be odd, and a show especially would not work with some sort of another actor. It is tough to speculate about these sort of things because Pee-wee Herman and Paul Reubens became so synonymous, so the idea of Pee-wee coming back without Paul involved feels strange. And I'm wondering if before his passing he left some sort of documents or instructions on what was to become of the character without him here. I would be interested, and I would tune into whatever comes about, of course. And I'd probably like it at least a little bit. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think any of these possible scenarios I suggested could happen? Is there an alternative thing that maybe I didn't mention? And if you don't have any feelings about that, just tell me what Playhouse puppet or character was your favorite. I'm kind of a Randy guy. I like the way the head bobbles around and just that kind of voice always does it for me. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out for a little bit, listening to me talk about Pee-wee. Subscribe if you want to. I've only posted a few videos here, and while I'm telling myself I'm going to post more, we'll see. Because I've said that every year, and then we just still are hanging out here. But check my links. If somehow you don't follow me on Instagram, go over to Instagram. I'm Valishard Videotapes. I make custom VHS tapes and post other stuff, which this had nothing to do with, but still, thanks for being here. I'll see you. Maybe, probably not. Bye!
The Playhouse will always be here.
For everyone to play in. Forever and ever and ever.
On that,
You have my word!